Initially, we have seen various factors causing the spoilage of the foods, and later we have observed how to identify the cans which are spoiled based on their external appearance. And now we are going to discuss about the causes of these spoiled cans. It may be because of the chemical spoilage or it may be biological spoilage. Under chemical spoilage, basically due to the chemical reaction of the tin plate. Under biological spoilage, we will study about two different types of organisms. One is mesophilic organisms, another one is thermophilic organisms. First cause of spoilage, that is spoilage caused due to the chemical reactions. The chemical reaction of the acid present in the food and the tin plate. When there is a chemical reaction between the tin plate and acid of the food, it causes production of hydrogen gas, and this hydrogen gas will cause swelling. So recently we have seen in the case of bursting of the cans, the source of hydrogen from two sources. So one of the source is the food acid reaction on the tin plate, that iron, which causes the production of hydrogen gas. This hydrogen gas causes spoilage of the food. So what are the reasons for spoilage due to the chemical reactions? So when these chemical reactions start occurring, so whenever the contents of the can, they are high in acidic in nature, so when there is an increase in acidic nature of the foodstuff, so this starts reacting with the metal plate or the tin plate, starting producing hydrogen. Or when the can is not properly lacquered, it is not coated with lacquer that prevents reaction with the acid that is present in the food, or when it is stored under very high temperatures, it also causes production of hydrogen. Or it may be due to the fact that so there is an interaction between food and the acid. The reaction between the food and the acid will also causes the production of hydrogen gas. So meanwhile it also causes production of various off flavors or discoloration or cloudiness of the foodstuff, so leading to the unacceptable condition of the foodstuff. And even it also is due to the insufficient exhaustion. When the cans are not properly exhausted, this will cause spoilage due to the chemical reactions. Biological spoilage of the canned foods are spoiled by two different types of microorganisms. Microbes which can grow at ambient conditions ranging from 25 to 47 degrees Celsius. Such microbes are called as mesophilic organisms. And there are certain bacteria which can form or which themselves are very resistant to higher temperatures, and which can survive at very higher temperatures because of their spore nature or because of their inherent property of survival at very higher temperatures. So such bacteria are called as thermophilic bacteria. So these two types of microbes cause spoilage in the canned foods. So how exactly these bacteria enter into a canned food? So one way is by the nature, when they are in the state of spore, they can survive very higher temperatures. Some bacteria, because of their inherent property, they themselves can stay or resist higher temperatures. So either they survive the processing temperature or heat, or they enter to the leakages. So when there is a improper seam, or when there is a hole, or when there is a rust hole or a pinhole, so there are chances of entry of these microbes into the can. Spoilage caused by mesophilic microorganisms. So basically these microbes, they grow in the range of 25 to 47 degrees Celsius. So that means they can be killed easily by processing at very high temperatures. If it is not killed, or if it is still surviving in the system in the canning, means so they are not properly processed or properly heated. That is basically due to under processing, either due to under processing or thinking that that particular fruit or a vegetable is either acidic in nature or medium acidic in nature, which makes you think that the temperature required for processing is low. So in such cases, so the non-spore forming bacteria or even the yeast and mold can also thrive under such conditions. So basically the mesophilic organisms cause spoilage either because of under processing or thinking that it is acidic or medium acidic food and the temperature for processing has been reduced, so then the entry of these mesophilic microbes is there. These microbes cause production of gases like hydrogen and carbon dioxide once they cause spoilage of the food. There are different mesophilic microbes, so that includes putrefacting anaerobes, butyric anaerobes, flat sore and lactobacilli, yeast and molds. So we'll discuss in detail about the spoilage caused by each and every microbe under this mesophilic microbes. Spoilage caused by putrefactive bacteria. Putrefactive bacteria like Clostridium species, a Clostridium botulinum, is a heat tolerant, heat resistant bacteria which can survive even at very high temperatures. So this bacteria will start decomposing the protein that is present in the canned food. The protein of the food is decomposed to produce hydrogen sulfide, ammonia, gases like carbon dioxide and hydrogen, which will eventually cause swelling. And this type of putrefactive anaerobes or proteolytic spoilage, so proteolytic in the sense they cause decomposition of the proteins, that's why they are called as proteolytic bacteria. So this kind of spoilage is due to the under processing. So when the cans are not heated up to the desired levels, especially in the case of low acid foods like beans, peas, so they are all considered to be foods that are containing very low acid. So such foods, when they are not heated to the required levels of 110 121 degrees Celsius, so these bacteria, they can still survive and then cause spoilage. So this type of spoilage of putrefactive anaerobes is a major spoilage that is causing in the canning industry. This is the major spoilage that is canned, that is caused by this type of spoilage. And the bacteria, this Clostridium botulinum, starts producing toxin, putrefying toxin, so which causes poisoning of the food. Spoilage caused by butyric anaerobes. So butyric anaerobes are a group of bacteria which are commonly called as butyrics. The spores of this saccharolytic clostridia, so these are characterized by low heat resistance, so they cannot have very as good as your putrefying anaerobes, so they are low heat resistance. And the spoilage of these canned products, so when it is not heated above 100 degrees Celsius, so the temperature is not above 100 degrees Celsius, or when you use steam or hot water for processing, in such cases you will see this type of anaerobes. So these anaerobes, they enter into the canned food because of the fact that so they are under processed. These saccharolytic bacteria bring about changes in the food by producing butyric acid and gases like carbon dioxide and hydrogen. And another type of bacteria, that is bacilli, enter the cans through the leakages. So the spoilage caused by butyric anaerobes is due to this saccharinatic clostridia, either due to under processing when they are processed less than 100 degrees Celsius, or use of steam or water in the commercial units, or through the leakages present through the seam. So there may be chances of entry of bacteria like bacilli species, so they may cause these butyric anaerobes. Spoilage caused by acidic flat sore and lactobacilli. So these bacteria are non-spore forming bacteria. So that means they are not tolerant to very high temperature, and they enter these cans through the leakages. So the bacteria enters through two means, that when a can is mildly heated or it is less heated, or it enters the can through leakages when a can is under processed. So that means it is not heated to the extent where a bacteria gets killed. If it is not heated over 100 degrees Celsius, then the chances of spoilage caused by leuconostic or lactobacillus, so that is observed in under processed fruit products. There are certain bacteria which can withstand very high temperature, like Microbacterium and Streptococcus thermophilus. So these bacteria can even withstand high temperatures. So one situation is when the temperature is not up to the mark. Another situation is even the bacteria can survive very high temperatures. So these are the cases where under processing is the reason for entry of microbes, entry of this particular bacteria, where non-spore bacteria can enter or they cause spoilage in under processed foods, whereas heat resistant bacteria like Streptococcus thermophilus and microbacteria cause spoilage in very pasteurized environment also. Through other ways also the bacteria enters, either while cooling the cans or through the leakages. When cooling the cans, when the cooling water in which the cans are being cooled contains bacteria like usual contaminant, that is your coliform bacteria, it can enter into the cans, because when the cans are being dipped into the cooling water, or it may enter into the cans because of the leakages that are present. So these are the ways by which acid flat sore or lactobacillus can enter into the cans and cause spoilages. Till now we have seen the spoilage caused by mesophilic bacteria, especially the ones which are putrefying, butyric anaerobes, and the acidic flat sore and lactobacilli. So these are most of them are bacteria, so which are mesophilic. So now we will see the yeast and mold. So these are the two remaining microbes, so which are mesophilic in nature. How does this yeast cause spoilage in canned foods? We already discussed in factors causing the spoilage about the yeast, the optimum conditions of their growth, where we have seen the temperature required is ranging from 25 to 47 degrees Celsius to the max. So even at very high temperatures, it is up to a maximum 47 degrees Celsius they can survive, after which they can easily be killed. So whereas average temperature in case of canning to the least is around 100 degrees Celsius to the maximum of 121 degrees Celsius. At such higher temperatures, there is no chance this yeast can survive. But what are the reasons for which this spoilage caused? So main reason is under processing. If it is not heated to the requirement, or through the entry of microbes through leakages or through poor evacuation. So even the vacuum is not created properly. So these are the chances by which there is remnants of oxygen or entrapped air. If entrapped air is not removed, so there is a chances of spoilage that is caused by yeast. This kind of spoilage is usually seen even in the foodstuff which are rich in sugars also. This kind of spoilage is observed, like your jams, jellies, or fruit juices or syrups, so which upon fermentation by yeast causes production of carbon dioxide. So this can be observed so by presence of thin coat of thin film of yeast on the pickles and olives. You might have seen in the homemade pickles, like if they are there is no proper hygienic conditions or proper moisture is not removed, so you can see the presence of yeast by thin coat or film on the pickles. Spoilage caused by molds. As you see in the factors affecting spoilage of the canned foods, you have seen the optimum temperature required for the growth of microbes. It ranges from very low temperatures as less as refrigeration or freezing to as high as 37 degrees Celsius. They are both psychotropic as well as mesophilic, but they are not thermophilic in nature. So that means they can easily be killed by mild heat above 37 degrees Celsius. There is no chance of such mold growth in the case of canned food. But where does these molds come from? So they come from, or they enter into the cans through the leakages that are caused due to faulty seaming or faulty sealing or due to any microbe, any kind of mechanical damages so that occur. So these molds basically they enter through the leakages. Most of the times high percentage of sugar in the food causes prevention of such molds. So usually in the case of your food stuff like canned fruits or jams, jellies, they contain high amount of sugar ranging from 67 to 70 percentage. So in such a high sugar conditions, these are unable to grow. So but there are certain molds so which can resist this percentage of high sugar, so such as your aspergillus, penicillium, and citromyces, so which can even grow under high sugar conditions. But this sugar resistant of mold can be killed by applying mild heat, that is 90 degrees Celsius, so just 1 minute. So they can easily be killed. That heat resistant molds can be killed by applying heat of 90 degrees Celsius for just 1 minute. But there are certain molds which can even resist that such a high temperature, such as your Bacillus fulva, which is a pectin fermenting heat resistant mold. This can even sustain even after applying such a high temperature of 90 degrees Celsius. Till now we have discussed about spoilage caused by mesophilic organisms that include bacteria as well as mold and yeast. Now we will discuss about the spoilage caused by thermophilic organisms that includes mostly bacteria. So these bacteria are thermophilic in nature. That means they are more heat resistant. So these thermophilic organisms, so that include bacteria, are more heat resistant than the mesophilic spores. So it is easier to kill mesophilic spores than thermophilic spores. Under this spoilage by thermophilic organisms, we have three types of spoilages, that is flat source spoilage, TS spoilage, and sulfite spoilage. So let's discuss about the first thermophilic spoilage, that is flat source spoilage. You already discussed about this kind of spoilage while discussing about identification of spoiled cans. So where Ian discussed about the flat source, so where there is a excess production of acid in the cans, and there is no visual observation visual appearance of the cans externally because there is no swell. The can remains flat. So that particular acid is lactic acid, which is produced by this heat resistant bacteria, that is bacillus. This is heat resistant. It is produced both in high acid foods as well as in low acid foods. So it is produced both in low acid foods like your beans, peas, or even in high acid foods like your tomato or tomato juice, wherein which this bacillus coagulans start producing lactic acid, but it does not liberate any kind of gas. That's why the can remains flat without producing any kind of swell. TS spoilage, which is caused by Clostridium thermosaccharolyticum, so which is a thermophilic anaerobe. So this causes spoilage of the food without producing hydrogen sulfide, but in turn it produces acid and gas. That gas includes your carbon dioxide as well as hydrogen, so which upon exposure to very high temperatures, when the cans are exposed to very high temperatures, upon the activity of this particular bacteria, so that is your Clostridium thermosaccharolyticum, it produces uh, acid as well as gas. So that gas includes both carbon dioxide and hydrogen, so which upon when the can is exposed to very high temperature, it causes heating, and then there is an internal pressure developed. So such internal pressure causes bursting of the cans. So here you can observe in the previous spoilage of the can, so that is flat sore, there is no swelling, there is no production of gas, so just the produce or the food becomes sour and remains flat. But in the case of your TS spoilage, the cans become swollen because of the production of gas, but both are thermophilic in nature. In one case you can observe a presence of a swelling, in the other case you don't see the presence of swelling. In one case you will see the production of acid, in other case you don't see the production of acid, instead there is a production of gas, which upon exposure to higher temperature cause bursting. But both the cases, both this flat sore as well as TS spoilage, so this kind of spoilages are more common in the case of foods which are rich in starch and sugar. Such spoiled food, in the case of your TS spoilage, will give sour or cheesy odor. Sulfite spoilage. So this is usually seen in the cans which are having low acid foods like peas, beans, which need to be heated to a very high temperatures because so they are not acidic in nature. So when they are not heated to a very high temperature, so there are chances of sulfide spoilage because of the microbe, that is Desulfometaculum nigrificans. So this particular microbe causes sulfide spoilage. So in the case of your flat sore, you have seen the production of lactic acid. In the case of your TS spoilage, you have seen the production of gas. In the case of sulfide spoilage, you have seen the production of sulfides. So TS spoilage, there is a production of H2S, and this causes sulfide spoilage. Comparatively, when comparing this thermophilic bacteria, that of the flat sore bacteria and the TA bacteria, so the sulfide spoilage causing bacteria are less resistant or less heat resistant than those of the flat sore and TA bacteria. So by understanding different types of spoilages that are caused by bacteria, we can classify the microbial spoilages on the basis of acidity, that is low acid foods, medium acid food, and acidic foods and highly acidic foods. In the case of low, medium, and acidic foods, different types of spoilages can be seen, like flat sow, TA spoilage, and saccharolytic anaerobes. But in the case of high acid foods, you don't see, that is less than 3.7 pH, you don't see spoilage that is caused as a result of bacteria, but still you can see production of hydrogen swell. So as a result of chemical decomposition, due to the production of both microbial spoilage as a result of food and microbe uh, uh, reaction causing production of hydrogen, and as well as the acid content reacting with the tin plate causing production of hydrogen, which causes swelling. Spoilage of canned food is not only attributed to the fact that it is spoiled because of the decomposition that is brought about by the microbes. It is not always the microbes that are those are the culprits for spoilage of the food, but it also involves certain discoloration, or the color of the produce becomes dark or discolored, or it may become black, or it may change its original color because of various reasons. It may be enzymatic or non-enzymatic, or due to the metallic contamination. So the metallic container, it reacts with the contents or the food substances. The food will be containing certain tannins or pigments, so which in turn reacts, or the machinery, so which in turn reacts to form certain chemicals, so which will give different colors or different what do you call, the coloration, or the original color of the food is being lost or discolored. So that we will see in the next few slides. So let's talk about the factors responsible for the discoloration of the food products. So it's basically three reasons for the discoloration of the fruit products. So first reason is the enzymatic, second reason non-enzymatic, and third reason metallic contamination. So first reason being the enzymatic browning. So you are all much aware of this particular reason, that wherein a fruit, when it is cut exposed, like your apples, pears, or potatoes, or brinjals, so when you are cutting, so we have seen the customary habit, or the usual habit of putting them in salt water. So when you are cooking this kind of food stuff, to prevent the exposure of cut surface to the atmospheric oxygen. So because, so there are chemical substances present in the foodstuff, so those are called as phenolics, so phenolic compounds. So when they are acted upon by this enzyme, oxidase enzyme, so that is polyphenol oxidase, so which upon contact with the oxygen, so they act upon these phenolic compounds and causes formation of quinones, so which is a brown pigment or brown coloration on the surface of the cut fruits. So that's why you find when a potato or an apple or a brinjal is cut and exposed to the atmospheric surface, it becomes brown. So that's why, so when a cut and peeled fruits or vegetables, so to prevent that kind of browning, you put them in a salt solution of 2 to 3%, so that will help in preventing the enzymatic browning. Browning does occur because of non-enzymatic browning, so where there is no involvement of enzymes, but there is a reaction between nitrogenous compounds and the sugar, and nitrogenous compounds with organic acid, and sugar and organic acid amongst themselves. So these various reactions will also bring about non-enzymatic browning, so which basically doesn't involve any type of enzymes. The reactions which are generally like between amino acids, which is again a nitrogenous compound, and sugar, is called as Maillard reaction. Another reason for the discoloration of the fruit products is due to the metallic contamination. The metals which are present in the machinery and in the cans or even in the food products or the fruits. So they involved in series of chemical reactions. They bring about a discoloration, whether it may be black or a change into different color or different shade or gray, which will cause a discoloration of the fruit product. For example, some fruits vegetables will be having most tannins. So these tannins present in the fruits and vegetables react with the iron, that's tin plate, so which will result in the production of ferric tannate. So this ferric tannate is black in color. This will cause discoloration. Similarly, so there is a formation of iron sulfide. This iron sulfide is produced from sulfur dioxide and hydrogen. So sulfur dioxide is produced from protein or sulfited sugar. So this liberates sulfur dioxide, and the hydrogen is liberated by the reaction between the tin plate and the fruit acid. So this produces hydrogen. So this sulfur dioxide and hydrogen reacts to form hydrogen sulfide, which gives an obnoxious odor. So this again reacts with this H2S. When it reacts with the iron that is present in the can, in the tin, so it gives rise to ferrous sulfide. So this iron sulfide is black in color, which causes discoloration. Now the discoloration of the fruit products caused by the formation of the copper sulfide. So till now we're discussing about the contamination through the metallic cans. Now through the equipment. So the equipment which are made up of either brass or copper, when it reacts with the hydrogen sulfide, so it forms a copper sulfide which is black in color. It causes discoloration. So now there is an entry of what do you call the equipment. So there is a equipment which plays a key role. Even the contaminants can enter through the machinery that is being used. And next one is the black deposition in the canned pumpkin. So even the compounds which are present in the pumpkins, so the amino compounds present in the pumpkin, they react with iron, so that is the can, so they form a black deposit. So even the contents of the can, the food itself, reacts with the can and forms a deposition of black deposits. So this causes coloration. Even the contents cause discoloration, even the machinery cause discoloration, and the discoloration even in corn. So this is because of the corrosion of the tin plates. So either the tin plate will be corroded, or even the metal, so that is the equipment, that is copper or brass metal equipment, becomes tarnished. So this both metal plate, that is tin plate, and the equipment machinery getting tarnished will lead to the gray discoloration. So that is the color of the corn will become gray. So because of this particular uh, discoloration, so to prevent that one, we need to use cans which are C enamel. So C enamels will be having a coating inside the cans which prevent them from being turning into gray colors. Discoloration of the fruit products. This is also caused by the sugar, the very sugar that is used in the preparation of the sugar syrup. So this sugar syrup is used for filling of the cans in the fruits. So when you use such sugar, so which is sulfited, so it produces sulfur dioxide. This sulfur dioxide reacts with iron of the can and produces iron sulfide, so which is black in color. So this causes discoloration. And you have seen in the last slide the amines present in the pumpkin causing discoloration, and the very content, that is iron, that is present in the tin is causing discoloration. The machinery is causing discoloration, the food itself is having certain compounds like amines is causing discoloration, and now the sulfur dioxide that is present in the sugar is causing discoloration. Now in the next case, if you see the pears, guavas and peaches, they turn pink. They become pink in color just because of the fact that as soon as the cans are sterilized, they are not properly cooled. If the cans are not properly cooled after sterilization, so the slices, fruit slices, they turn into pink color. So if we recap the spoilages, the factors, the causes causing the spoilage in canned products. So it may be, most of the times it is due to the under processing. The temperature that is required, it is not being met, and the duration is not being met, and the cans that are used, they are not properly lacquered, and there is a defect in seaming operations, and there is a contamination in the case of water that is being used for cooling of the cans, and there are various mechanical damages, and there are various reasons so that are attributed towards spoilage of the cans, but major being under processing, and the cooling of the cooling water which is contaminated, and defective seaming operation, and use of non-lacquered cans. And that's about the causes for the spoilage of canned products.